huge fucking nerd. That's right, I'm a huge fucking nerd. I like lots of books and computers, 'cause I am a huge fucking nerd.
One-of-a-kind shades made to order by Vaporshades.com. Vaporshades designs the outer layer of the sunglasses just like a wrap on a car. They customize your sunglasses, marbling the paint. The end result is no two pair of sunglasses are alike. Yours will be completely unique to you. Check us out at Vaporshades.com. Use promo code Tuddle for 15% off your entire order. Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Vaporshades Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sundays so far. Make sure you check out my website, Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with two Ds, Tuddle.net. Now, when you go there, you're going to be able to find every single place you're going to find me online. It's like the one-stop shopping for my online footprint. If you guys would like to reach out, I'm not able to take phone calls right now. One day, when I get into a real studio and not a 2006 PT Cruiser, you're going to be able to call me. But for now, there's two ways you can contact. If you want to get involved and participate in the show, you can do that by emailing me, tuddle@gmail.com. I try to get back to every single person, but it's getting harder and harder with every single day with this podcast. Because the supporters, are telling your friends, family, loved ones, whatever it may be, about the show because you like it. You want to see it grow. You want to see it stick around. Now, if you don't want to email me, you want to get your voice on the podcast, you can do that. 407-270-3044. Once again, that is 407-270-3044. And don't worry, people. I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to dox you. I'm not going to try to give out your information if I don't like something you say. Matter of fact, if you hate me or you have an opposing opinion, you're going straight to the front of the line. I promise you that. Having people on, I'll play those. I'll definitely play those. But having the opposing opinion is always way more entertaining. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure that it makes me old that I watch it. And I would like to hear from you. How many of you guys watch CBS Sunday Morning? I love it. I think some of the stories that they do are absolutely brilliant. And they're so interesting. I saw this one story. And this is not the story I'm getting into. But I'm giving you an example of the type of stuff you see on CBS Sunday Morning. This lady ended up, she was like yard sailing. And she found this chair. And it was a fish chair. And what I mean by fish chair, it was a chair that was a fish theme, I guess you could say. Like the back of it were fish, the legs were fish. And she posted a picture on it. And it kind of went viral. I don't know why, but there was a woman on the other side of the country that had the same exact tattoo. I'm telling you, it was so goddamn eerie that the chair that was out there, and this woman that had the tattoo had never seen the chair before, but she had the same exact tattoo. The tattoo she had on her calf was the spitting image of the real-life chair, and she reached out. She posted a picture of her tattoo, and guess what? I think they called it the Fellowship of the Fish Chair, and if you don't get the connection, the Fellowship, Lord of the Rings, getting the ring to Mordor. I think that's it. My nerd card's going to be pulled if that's wrong. But a whole bunch of people, they would take it part way. They'd take it to one city, somebody else would pick it up, and then another person would bring it until they finally got it to the woman with the fish chair tattoo. Now, I thought it was a brilliant story. It's different. I had never seen anything like it before, but today they were actually talking about the pandemic. They're kind of trying to do their year-end wrap-up because by the time the next CBS Sunday Morning, it'll be past the New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. But they were talking about one of the big things. You know, they talk a lot about depression, people being down, mental health during the pandemic. And one of the things that they said that's leading to depression and bad mental health during the pandemic is because nobody has plans. They say there are some people that live and die by their calendar, and they write everything down. I try to do it. I slip up. I fall behind on keeping up with my calendar, but having stuff to do, they explain this. Having things to do, having plans, things to look forward to is good for your mental health. It puts you in a good mood because it makes you look forward to things. But a lot of people haven't had that. And the reason, in a roundabout way, it's really not even a big deal, but I learned this today. People like to have things to do. And the elevator buttons, you know, the closed door buttons or the open door buttons in elevators, you try to close it to get the door to close quicker. Yeah, hey, guess what? It's pointless. It's not giving you anything to do because that bitch is going to stay open for a certain amount of time. Everybody, for some reason, and I'm guilty of it, they think that that button closes the door, and it doesn't. It hasn't for years because back in 1990, they had the Disabilities Act. They wanted to give people with disabilities, like with walkers or prosthetics, or people that are in a wheelchair, enough time to be able to get in there. So no matter what you do, it's going to stay open no matter what. You closing that, I don't know why people think that, but it's the truth. The elevator closed door button is useless, but everybody thinks that it closes the door immediately. And there's little things like that. But if you know of any of those things, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, Tuddle@gmail.com, or you can leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. So it's been over a year since I've been at the BRN, and every radio show has those like benchmark callers, people that everybody knows. Every single radio show has one. I mean, when I was on the Monsters, we had Sir Gary. We had Pep Talk Dave. We had so many of those callers that would call in. Bubba had them as well too. I mean, Drunk by Noon Dawn. But one of my favorites from the Bubba the Love Sponge show was Fozzie. Fozzie used to call in all the time. And there was a time where I really didn't care for Fozzie, but you want to know why? Because Fozzie just loved to bust balls. And I was the target of many of those ball bustings. And, you know, I took it personally, but now looking back on it, I actually think Fozzie is pretty funny. Fozzie knows how to work. And he submitted a piece of audio to me. I think it's a parody song. I haven't listened to it yet. I don't want to listen to it. I want to get my first reaction when I play it. But if any of you guys out there want to submit anything, if you're a musician or a comedian and you want to send me something, you can easily do that. Tuddle@gmail.com. I pretty much will play everything. I might rib you or bust your balls a little bit, but I'm not going to eviscerate you or anything because I respect art. I respect the hustle. And if you guys want to send me stuff in, you, like I said, Tuddle@gmail.com. But Fozzie, I talked to him probably a couple of months ago, and he's getting more involved with doing stuff on social media. He is killing it at the Waffle House right now. I will say this, like, I'm sure it's nice for Fozzie to not talk like he used to, because if you remember, Fozzie had the most gravelly voice, I know that's not even a word, that you could ever imagine. Then all of a sudden he had some procedure done, and the guy is talking crystal clear now. And we've been in touch. I appreciate him keeping in touch with me, but I wanted to play this for you. I'm going to start and stop it. But I really appreciate this, Fozzie, and I can't wait to hear it. All right. Oh, this might.
Hello, Tuddle, my
All right, they're here.
got fired by Todd Cloud
John Mays is the biggest
at the hobo fish cap. He's craving
free Wi-Fi.
told the landlord's Wi-Fi while he's sleeping.
John Mays is the biggest.
And the vision.
Listen, I appreciate it, Ozzy. I got to tell you, I like the content. I like the subject matter, but your delivery mechanism is a little off. And what I mean by delivery mechanism is your voice. Your voice sounds way better than what it did back in the day, but it's still a little off key. But guess what? It's a parody song, and I get it. The only thing that I can't stop listening to is how bad the audio sounded from that Facebook Live video. I'm so glad that I got this new microphone. But Fozzie, I'm digging it, and I appreciate it.
Ascot and mustard stains still remains.
Like I said before, Fozzie, I appreciate your hustle. I appreciate your submission. But man, you got to work on that mix minus. But that is expected. Like, it takes a while to fine-tune your ear when it comes to getting that correct level. You don't want to be drowned out. Your voice is a little drowned out on this, cuzzy. Yeah, it is. And please don't take... listen, I love it. I appreciate it. So please don't take this as me mother effing you when it comes to this bit. I want to turn you into a parody god. I want you to be my Manson on the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
I've been using the new free Wi-Fi.
Restless dreams walks alone, working out through skin and bone.
This might be great. I know that I'm going to sound like a Fozzie, Mark, but I follow him on social media. I know he's got a dog. I see all the hijinks that Fozzie is up to, and I know he's got a new dog called Little Bear. Now, hey, Fozzie, I mean, come on, buddy. You got to stop throwing the pork rinds to Little Bear there. I think you're treating him too much like a human. You've got to get real human friends. Listen, I've had dogs all my life, but Little Bear, I hope you're not doing things with Little Bear, if you know what I mean. A wink, wink on that whole thing. Nah, it's just jokes, Fozzie. Just jokes. But I hope Little Bear gets a run-in on this parody song.
Hobo fish cow, the Bubba Show, now Lummy the Chow.
This is how the human brain works. When we hear a piece of audio, we automatically visualize the person recording this or what we think they're doing while they record this. That's why radio was so big back in the day, because it was a mystery of what people look like. That's why they came up with music videos. That's why they came up with MTV, because everybody has a visual image in their head when they're listening to audio. And the only thing that I can think of when I hear Fozzie doing this song is from Silence of the Lamb, where Buffalo Bill is standing in front of the mirror. He's putting on makeup, lipstick, and all that stuff. And then he tucks his penis and pulls off that nightgown, whatever it may be, and sits there and dances with the mangina going on. And then I can only picture Fozzie coming up to the mirror and is like, "I'd fuck me. I would definitely fuck me. It puts the lotion in the basket." That is exactly the image that I get when I hear this piece of audio.
By the flash of the cop car's lights, like he's not white, the nerd must.
All right, so I don't want Fozzie to think that I hate this song. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be better on it, but I think for his first crack at it, I think he did pretty well. I really do. He needs to work on the mix. And the other big thing, you gotta realize this, Fozzie. The audience has a short attention span. I would play the whole thing, but I mean, it's 3 minutes, 32 seconds of audio. You got to cut that real estate down, cuz you really do. And I would say 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes tops is a good sweet spot for you. Don't think, listen, quality over quantity, Fozzie. And I love it. I love that you submitted this. And I'll play any of your stuff. I'll play any supporters, listeners, people that take in my content. Yes, I'll play it. Tuddle@gmail.com. That's Tuddle with 2 D's. Tuddle @gmail.com. Gonna take a quick break. Be back in just under a minute. You are listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
He's a nerd,
I've only been arrested one time.
a radio personality,
Professionally, I'm not in the best position that I've ever been in.
and hot talk satirizer.
You would think with everything that's going on, a Caucasian like myself wouldn't be able to randomly talk to an African American or a minority.
You're listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Have you considered owning your own restaurant franchise? Good Life Organics currently offers territories across the United States. Check out GLO Franchising. That's GLO Franchising on Facebook to sign up for an overview session today. Good Life Organics Franchising, a new partner of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Tell them Tuddle sent you. Send them a message on Facebook at facebook.com/GLO Franchising.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Make sure you check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. I got a new feature that is available on the my YouTube channel. I am uploading the Tuddle Daily Podcast. And me and my producer, Vulture, we talked about this. You know, yes, it's going to take numbers away from my downloads on my podcast. But, I mean, doesn't it really just serve the same purpose? Getting the name out there, getting the show out there. A lot of people ask me, why do you post on so many different places? And the reason I do that is because, like, here, I'll give you an example. It's on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, 315 Live, as well as the TuneIn Radio app. And I put it on there because I want it to be on as many places as it can be. And by the way, if you're hearing a lot of background noise, it's because I'm driving. One of the things that I've had to adapt to when it comes to this podcast is multitasking. My multitasking has gotten way, way better. So I'm running to the store now. I got to pick up a couple of things for my mom's. My mom's is baking some cookies today. She's been in a real baking mood since she got out of the hospital. But make sure you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. The Tuddle Daily Podcast is going to be up there every single day for you guys to check out. But when you go to my YouTube channel, there's a couple of things you got to do. You got to subscribe, because subscriptions help me out when people search for me. And you also need to hit that little bell button. A lot of people ignore that bell button, but the bell button is very important, because what that bell button is going to do is going to alert you anytime that I go live or I upload any brand new content of the Tuddle Daily Podcast or any of the other content, interviews, whatever it may be. Just do it. Trust me, you will not regret it. So it's looking more and more like 2020 is trying to get in its last few sucker punches before the end of the year. I've been saying this. I am not a big supporter of things are going to get mysteriously better at the strike of midnight, December 31st, 2020, going into 2021. But everybody says that. But I was reading a story today on the Drudge Report. Now, I know a lot of you guys probably don't like the Drudge Report, but I found this very, very interesting, and I'm a little dumbfounded on this. And hear me out before I get into it. Overuse of antibiotics for COVID-19 to blame in the super gonorrhea spike. Now, listen, I've always heard gonorrhea is pretty bad. My dad used to say back in the day how they got rid of gonorrhea, because I think gonorrhea is the one where you ooze stuff out of your genitalia. My dad, he could have been joking, but dad jokes. He said back in the day that if you're in the military, they would make you step up to a table, and if you had gonorrhea, they would pull your dick out, flaccid, onto the table, and they would hit it with a rubber mallet until they got out all of the gonorrhea cheese. And that's what I'm calling it. Not even cheese. I'm talking like cheese curds coming out of the head of your penis. But the unnecessary overuse of antibiotics during the coronavirus pandemic has created a rise in drug-resistant strains of super gonorrhea. Now, all right, so I know why they're using antibiotics, but COVID is a virus. Coronavirus is a virus. So why are we using antibiotics? Now, I know why. Because COVID-19 is leading to a lot of bacterial pneumonia. Because what's happening is that your immune system is working in hyperdrive. It causes like a cytokine storm, and it actually attacks your good lungs, your lung cells, and that's what happens. And those start to die, and then you get a bacterial infection in your lungs. But just like anything, Americans, we overuse medication, and that's what's happening here. This is exactly what is happening here. And now we've created a super strain of gonorrhea. Guys, funny thing is that nobody out there wants to wear, well, I take that back. There are a lot of people that want to wear masks, but there's a lot of people, those same people are like, I don't need no mask. I ain't going to catch this. The coronavirus is a hoax. Well, let me ask you this. You wearing condoms when you're having sex? Yeah, I really think you are. I know for the most part. I always love, and I always do, wear condoms. I know a lot of people hate condoms. They say, oh, it takes away from the feeling. And I agree. Listen, I've done both. I don't want you to think I'm one of those holier than thou type people that has never had sex without a condom. God damn it. Yeah, yes, I have. And that's the thing about it. I'm consistently talking about our DNA, how it's ingrained in us, and how we as humans forget we are nothing but animals. We are just evolved animals. And our need, our drive, like I said, ingrained into our DNA is to reproduce, especially males. Especially males. And I've been there. Guys, we've all been there. You might not want to admit it, but we are. You're not expecting to have sex, and you get in a situation. You get in a situation where a female, a woman, is digging you, and you get caught up hot and heavy. And then you're getting to that point because, listen, a lot of guys are going for the finish line. They're going for gold, and that is having sex. But like somebody like me, we go into a situation like, oh, okay. Yes, I met this nice person. If it does lead to sex, that's bonus. Guys like me, I don't want you to think guys like me do not like sex or we don't have that in our brain, because we do. We have that in our brain. But I go into every situation, I do not expect sex. No, not at all. But if it does happen, that's great, especially in my early 20s. I've talked about this before. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 20 goddamn years old. And so what I'm saying, I've been in so many situations where I've met a woman in a club or something, or at a radio station event, and I have brought her back. And you start making out, you start heavy petting, you start doing all of that stuff. And then, oh, you're getting right to the oh, God damn it, I don't have a condom. Now, what I'm trying to say is, like, I would never forcibly or even try to persuade a woman to allowing me to have sex with her without a condom. No. I wouldn't do that. But guys, the way that guys think, back to that DNA in our heads where it's ingrained in us, we don't want to leave because we know that if we leave, the moment's going to get lost. And by the time we do end up getting back with condoms or some sort of protection, the mood is already gone. That's the thing about men and women. Men are ready to go anytime. Except that, well, I will admit this, whenever I was on all the psychotropic drugs for bipolar, manic depressive type stuff, yes, that stuff killed my sex drive. It took me forever to get worked out, and that was the best case scenario for the most part. When I was on all the mind-altering substances to help me out with my mental health, yeah, it was difficult to get any type of hardness, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be graphic, out of my penis. It absolutely destroyed my sex drive. And I've talked about this. As soon as I got off of those, oh my God, it was like I was just transported into my past, back in my teenage years. And the first time when I finally discovered what masturbation was all about, yeah, I was taken directly back to that moment because I was like a teenage kid again. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of these people that don't want to wear masks, they are also the same people that like, oh, no, I'm not having sex without a condom. And they're also the same dudes that will eat a chick's ass on a moment's notice, no mask, no protection at all, will get right in there, nose right above the butthole, and you'll get down there and you will eat that ass. And for you guys that are going to eat that ass, yeah, I mean, I get it. If you're going to eat ass, I would not expect for you to give a damn about the coronavirus. And now I don't want anybody to think, listen, I've done it once. I mean, it's not, I don't go straight for the asshole to eat the ass out. No, of course I don't. But what I'm trying to say is, you guys that want to bitch and complain about having to wear a mask or wearing masks, you guys are also the same type of people that will get right down there and just show so much attention to the BH. So unlike other radio hosts or celebrity, and trust me, I'm not calling myself a celebrity at all, but for the most part, people that have a little bit, even just a little bit of fame or image, they try to control the narrative like a mother effer. And they're just going to do it. So this right here should be proof that I share everything, because I was pretty embarrassed when this happened. Now, there's a couple of things that could have happened with this. This could have been somebody that was being genuine and really just was not trying to be a dick to me. Now, it also could be a listener of mine, a troll. Because now, see, being a troll is kind of like being a drug addict, because you like getting that adrenaline rush. You like screwing with people. And then after a while, that you start building up a tolerance for it. then you're like, all right, I got to mess with these people in real life. IRL. I learned that. A lot of gamers in real life. So what I'm trying to say is this could have been a troll trying to mess with me. So I've been doing all the shopping for my parents during COVID, during the pandemic, because I just don't want them being out. I know that I could easily catch it myself and bring it home to them. It could happen. But I'm very, very careful. But I was going down the bathroom tissue, toilet paper aisle once again. Why is there such a run? There was plenty of toilet paper, but no paper towels at all. And then this guy came up to me. He didn't get like in my personal area. He had a mask on. I had a mask. And he was like, why do you look familiar? Now, he said look familiar, but I was also talking on the phone, so I didn't know if he was listening to my voice. So let me backtrack here a little bit and explain why I did what I did. And it was just a bad mistake or an error in judgment on my part. But when I first started in radio, you got to understand, we had the internet. Yeah, we had the internet. But not a lot of people knew what I looked like. They know what I sound like. And I know a lot of you people out there, that you guys complain. Oh, I can't stand Tuddle's voice. Tuddle's voice is the worst. I agree with you. I agree with you that my voice is not the best. But I will say this. I do have one of the most recognizable voices in Central Florida radio. And I'm not trying to blow my own horn. I'm not trying to say that I'm more famous than anybody else, but I think that my voice is more recognizable out of any of these stereotypical radio guys with a deep voice. This is Tuddle. Welcome back to Real Radio, or welcome back to the BRN, or welcome back to 1025 The Bone. No, that I've never talked that way. And if that's not how I really, really talk, that is not what I want to portray on the air. But for most of my career, a lot of people have recognized me from hearing me talk. They'll come back, where do I know your voice from? I don't know. Your voice sounds familiar. I'm like, what radio station do you listen to? And they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm Tuddle from the Monster. Not in an arrogant way, people. I don't want you to think that, but I was in the toilet paper, bathroom tissue aisle to make him ask, where do I know you from? And I didn't even think if he was hearing me, but I was talking on the phone. And I said, do you listen to local radio? And I said, I'm Tuddle. And the guy said, who? Like a goddamn owl out in the middle of the day. He said, who? I would have rathered, because this dude that I was talking to was a pretty big guy. I mean, he was stacked. I would have taken him punching me right in the solar plex, right in the stomach, instead of how I felt when I brought that up and he said who. And I kind of played it off like, oh, yeah. And he was like, no, you look like Chester Bennington. Now, that kind of threw up a red flag. I was like, oh, yeah, he's definitely a listener, because so many of the people, Bubba's talked about this, when I get I don't shave my head anymore. I go to Bezo. Bezo is a guy that I met from Colton that shoots every single local rap video you could ever think of in the Tampa area. He cuts hair. The guy gives a great fade, and I love it. I know that it's very stereotypical white boy type haircut to get the fade, but he does a great job. And I'll agree. I will agree 100%. When my hair is short, and especially with the nerdy ass glasses that I wear, yeah, I do look like Chester Bennington. Now, I also, with my insecurities, bad habit of having no self-confidence at all, I was like, oh, is he making a suicide joke? But no, I really don't think he does. But the guy was cool about it. He didn't call me out on it by like, oh, I'm Tuddle. He just said, oh, who? I mean, that was a kick in the nuts when he said that, but the dude let me off the hook on that one, and I thank him. I really, really do. I jumped the gun. I should not assume. Hell, I've been out of radio for over a year, so yeah, why the F would he know who I am? Gonna take a quick break, gonna come back, wrap up the last segment of the show. You are listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
From the Vapor Shades Hobo Fish Camp.
Man, maybe I would have way more sex partners in my life if I just threw caution to the wind.
It's the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Tuddle's Daily Podcast is brought to you by StitchYouUp.com. For your embroidery, screen printing, vinyl, and direct-to-garment printing needs, visit StitchYouUp.com. Stitch You Up specializes in custom caps, shirts, decals, and anything you want to personalize. Whether it's one item or large orders, they can handle any size. Unsure about what you want? Let Stitch You Up help you with your logo design. Visit StitchYouUp.com or contact them, Eric at StitchYouUp.com. Stitch You Up. Definitely not your grandma's embroidery.
Welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast, final segment of the day. And if you've been listening to this show or podcast for any amount of time, you know that I go to the Oak Hill Sunoco. And what I'm about to say, I don't want you to think that I don't talk to people because they look different. They might be gay, lesbian, black, white, Mexican, Asian. I pretty much talk to everybody, but I've known this for a while, but this kind of solidified the way that I've thought. And I know a lot of people are not like fans of sports. They're like, oh, why do you get so involved in sports? And, you know, the one thing that bothers people is going up to and meeting somebody new, especially if they're another race or another sexual orientation. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. People won't admit it, but they will not even take that chance or risk to go and talk to somebody that is different of them or just somebody like them. They just do not want to meet new people because people hate awkwardness. People need icebreakers, and you want to know what one of the greatest icebreakers in the world is? Especially for guys. Guys 25 to 54, sports. I've been going up to that Oak Hill Sunoco, and this African-American gentleman, older, maybe mid-50s, could even be 60, he's pumping gas. And he's got a Miami Dolphins beanie on. And I'm one of the biggest Dolphins fan. I grew up with the Miami Dolphins, and I'll admit it, it's because of my dad. It was all because of my dad, because I got into watching sports to be able to have that connection with my pops, and I started watching the Dolphins. I started watching the Gators games. We watched Atlanta Braves, and for a little bit of time there, when Shaq was on the team, we watched the Orlando Magic, and I did it. And I just value and cherish those moments to be able to hang out with my pops. But yeah, we watched the Miami Dolphins, and the guy had a Miami Dolphins beanie on. I was like, oh, you a Dolphins fan? He was like, yeah, definitely am. And we sat there and probably talked, say, 15 or 20 minutes. I mean, we were reminiscing on the undefeated team, the Marino era. We discussed everything, and this guy knew everything about the Miami Dolphins. And why is it when you start talking to another guy and he knows all the stats, he knows all the players just like you do, that I know we're in a pandemic right now, but I wanted to give the guy, I wanted to chest bump him, and and I wanted to give him a big old hug. Yes, I see you, buddy. Miami Dolphins, they are going to make the playoffs. And my God, that game last night, holy crap. I mean, Tua is the future of the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be the starting quarterback. But, dude, Ryan Fitzpatrick went in like a pimp, like the old-timer he is, and he was throwing nothing but bombs, even with young bucks, young dudes, defensive linemen trying to rip his head off because, I swear to God, do yourself a favor. YouTube the highlights from the Raiders-Dolphins game. Man, I'm at a loss of words because Ryan Fitzpatrick almost had his neck broken because the guy grabbed his face mask so hard while he was throwing, but was still able to throw a 30, 40-yard bomb with his neck completely turned, his head completely turned around. And then after the guy caught it inbound, you tack on another 15, and then the Fins kicker hits it right through the uprights. Dolphins win 26-25. Now, I've been at Sunoco today, and that was one of the first things I thought about. I was like, all right, I got to meet this guy that was wearing the Miami Dolphins beanie. But what I'm trying to say, even though you guys might not like sports, sports unifies people. Look at what baseball did. Yeah, Jackie Robinson had a really, really hard time. People used to call him the N-word. He went through a lot of hell. But guess what? Sports. People saw Jackie Robinson playing baseball, which is a Caucasian-dominated sport at the time, and he killed it. It unified. It helped integration in our country, the United States of America. So I know that I'm ranting. I know a lot of you guys already thought that. But yes, sports is the greatest uniter here in the United States. And yes, I'll take it. I know that people should want to unite for other causes besides sports. But hey, don't complain, people. Let's do whatever we need to do to get this done. And if it's rooting for sports teams, then let's just take it. Oh, man, this guy... see, that's the other thing. We have a new guy that's moved into the park here, and he loves to dry run his boat motor engine and just rev it up. I don't understand what the purpose is, but he loves to do it. And he doesn't give a fuck about anybody else in the park. And guess what? I'm the one that's trying to get... that's being run out because I wanted to use the Wi-Fi, but this asshole is revving up he's dry revving up his boat motor. I'm not going to say that because if he turned it off. What I was going to say is I hope he slips and falls into the boat prop while he's dry running it, and I wouldn't have to hear that crap anymore. All right. I digress. I probably shouldn't have said that. I wasn't trying to shock Chuck. Hope you enjoyed today's show, guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow.